Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. And go ahead and grab a Bible and turn with me to the 62nd Psalm. 62nd Psalm. Let's jump right in. I got a long way to go and a short time to get there today. The 62nd Psalm. I'll be picking up there again in the first verse. Let's talk a little bit about some background for this psalm for just a moment. We know this is another one of the psalms where we know very little about its background, its context, other than just what it says in the superscription, that it is a psalm of David. And David is sharing his confidence in God and expressing that in this situation. And I think one of the things we're going to be wrestling with in this psalm, to put it simply, is the age-old question of how can a loving God let this happen, and that's I think kind of one of the age old questions that we deal with, and it's I think if I was looking for a broad topic to assign this psalm. That would be it. This is another psalm again where, like I said, we don't know the background. Again, some believe that it was written while he was fleeing from Saul. But I think everything, when you take the whole psalm and look at it, it seems to be written more during, probably at the very actually beginning, of Absalom's rebellion. Maybe before David even had actually ever been put off the throne. That the rebellion was just beginning. David had a time where after his sin with Bathsheba, and when going through all of that, through that time, he had a period of sickness. Some actually believe he even became a leper for a period of time. And all that was going on. And while that was going on, and he was really not paying a great deal of attention to the kingdom and doing his job as king, Absalom was able to slide in and win the hearts of the people, and ultimately would be able to take the throne from David. And so he is, David, I think this psalm really is one, again, who was written early in that time period. And I think David is just really discovering the depths of his son's rebellion and the nature of what has been going on, and because of that, he again it sends him back to God, and sends him back to plead with God. And so I think that's a pretty good description of the background of what's going on here. So let's actually jump in here to the text, and what we're going to learn. It's a fairly long psalm, not much longer than the last one, 12 verses here, but we're going to take most of them today because of where the natural break in the psalm is. We're going to look at the first 7 verses, or make every attempt to, and try to cover those verses. David is at a time, again, where he is feeling kind of down. Again, he's realized the nature of Absalom's rebellion, his own health, his own sin, his sickness, his sin, and his spirituality. All three have been seriously challenged in the last year or so in David's life, and he is again feeling really discouraged and really down. But the one thing that David could say, beginning in verse 1, he says, "Truly my soul waiteth upon God, from him cometh my salvation." And so even though David is going through a rough time in his life, he realizes, he understands that the only hope he has, the only place excuse me, the only place he can turn to is God himself. Verse 2, he says, "He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense." And so in this circumstance that David finds himself, he teaches us a valuable lesson, that just like David, our only hope, our only rock, our only salvation is God himself. He realized as he looked around and surveyed the landscape of what was going on between Absalom's rebellion, his own sin, again everything else that was taking place in his life. He understood that God was his only hope. And he uses the word here, "He only is my rock and my salvation." And the word that he uses there for salvation is referring back to the promises and the covenant of God. And so in the excuse me, what David is saying here, and what he's showing us, is that even in the midst of all these things that were going on, that were pulling him in every direction, that he didn't understand why they were happening, that he could still rely on the promises of God, that he still had that hope and that promise that he could rely on even in that time. He goes on and says, "How long will you imagine mischief against a man? You shall be slain, all of you, as a bowing wall shall you be, and as a tottering fence. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah." And so again, those couple verses right there are, I think, plenty of evidence again to point that this is a psalm at the beginning of Absalom's rebellion. They consult to cast him down from his excellency, he says. They bless with their mouth, they curse inwardly. And so I think it's obvious that, again, the setting of this psalm from that verse alone, really. But he says they imagine mischief, and as that's kind of a strange saying, but the word that's used there, it means that they attack. Again, I think when we hear imagine mischief, we may think, well, they're just sitting around thinking about it. No, this word means they actually attacked, and so David again is putting his confidence in God. You imagine mischief, but you shall be slain, all of you, as a bowing wall shall you be, as a tottering fence. And so a bowing wall, what David means by a bowing wall is a leaning wall, or a fence that is a tottering fence. That's pretty clear. That both of them are about to collapse. David says that they have no real chance of success, because he's putting his confidence in God, and regardless of how they continued to press forward and try to destroy God, David again is confident that God is going to protect him from the lies and the cursing that they are doing against it, and eventually that God would redeem and provide, protect for David. And so he sums up here in verse 5 when he says, "My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength, and my refuge is in God." Man, that's pretty straightforward and plain. I don't need to comment a whole lot on that. David simply, after discussing the methods, the sin, the wickedness of his enemies, he quickly returns and describes the strength, the protection of God. Yes, his enemies were consulting to cast him down. They were delighting in lies. They were saying nice things with their mouth, but inwardly they were plotting destruction. But even while they do that, my God is still on the throne. And so that's a real encouragement, I think, for us of how we approach those times when we fear, we get scared, we worry, we doubt. Is that we, like David, again, the danger was real. Absalom was plotting a rebellion. That was a fact. But David, it wasn't he was making things up or imagining things. And the point is that I'm trying to make is that there are real dangers in life. There are things that go wrong that cause us, as I said earlier, sometimes to wonder what. How does God allow these things to happen? But what we have to do, and what we have to learn, is to be like David and to remember that he is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense, and only in him do we find peace and comfort. Think about all the New Testament promises. Jesus tells us to come to him for rest. He promises us peace that passes all understanding. And so over and over again, we are encouraged, we are directed, reminded of the comfort, the protection of our loving God. And so my encouragement to you today for this coming week is no matter what battles you face, no matter who your Absalom is, no matter what your who's attacking you or how they're attacking you, you have the same God that David had. You can have the same confidence that David had, and he is your rock. He is our strong tower, and we can place our faith and confidence in him. Again, it doesn't mean there won't be rebellions or problems, but it does mean that our God is always with us. He never leaves us nor forsakes us. And I hope that will help you this week and encourage you to keep your eyes on him and to follow him, to put your trust in him, no matter what storms, no matter what adversaries may bring. That if he is for me, who can be against me? You have a great day, and keep trusting in him, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.